Next, I would like to welcome to the stage Mr. Wang, who is a senior advisor at the Division for International Affairs in Denmark. He's going to lead us through the status of the digital transformation in Denmark with a talk called Digital Denmark, The Way Ahead. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here in Iceland again. It's a lovely country and I'm really looking forward to spend a weekend here. Yes, I'm actually in a position where I can't say that much about the future. We got a new government just 15th December. And we are at the moment, as my colleague from Norway also pointed out, working on a renewed, reinforced strategy, national strategy on digitalization. But what I can do is perhaps tell you a little bit about our approach, not a historic walkthrough, but nevertheless, some of the political thinking that has been going on behind 2 decades of continuous digital initiatives. And the thinking here has very much been on trying to focus on coherency, a holistic approach to the public sector. Because when you look at yourself, you as a citizen in a society as ours, we really don't care whether it is a municipal authority or a regional authority or a state authority or central government authority that delivers your service, as long as your problems are solved. And that has been one of the main thoughts behind the way that we have approached. And that's also why when we're talking about digital strategies, we're actually also talking about reforms of the public sector. What can we actually do from central government to create the different bolts and knobs to facilitate and to support, enhance a digital transformation in Denmark? Yes, we started out with one of the most important components, a digital signature, an EID. We are today at our 3rd generation. The first one was not that successful, but it initiated a continuous development on how should this function in order to be easily used by all in our society. I could also mention a lot of other things. One thing that has actually been a part of a reform of our public sector is public payments. Previously, it was the responsibility of our municipality to pay social benefits, etc. What we did at some point was actually to merge and centralize and put it into a payment authority or payment agency under responsibility of the Ministry of Finance. We got a lot of savings out of that. And as my Finnish colleague mentioned, one of the issues that really been a drive behind our digital transformation path has really been, can we make things more efficient and effective and simple for the citizen and the business in our society? Yes, an easy account, NemKonto. Why not just label a citizen's bank account saying, okay, we just transfer whatever you get from the public sector, including my own salary, to that account. Of course, what we have seen in other countries, also here in the region, quickly get one-stop shops. Why should a citizen or a business owner care about or use a lot of hours to try to find out which digital service should we, where to find it and where we can get it? So these, of course, are the driving political goals for 2 decades, and has included in the back office a lot of discussions between central government and subnational governments to agree on a common way forward. So the digital strategies that we have executed on and implemented to a large extent has actually been common public sector strategies. Yes, we can fight about who should pay for this, who should pay for that, how much should central government co-fund certain areas, certain projects. But in the end, we get an agreement and we move forward on a common basis. This has been one of the main ways of approaching digital transition in Denmark. One thing that I'm actually, I'm saying that as a humble civil servant, I'm actually quite astonished and that was a very bold political decision in the mid of the 10th, where the political decision was taken to not just make digital first or digital by default, but actually make it mandatory by law to use digital public services. We basically abolished paper letters from authorities and say, okay, we provide you with this digital post solution from government. I'm not saying that that was easy, but that was a bold decision, which of course today, even though we as other countries here in the regions are very high on whatever index we have internationally, we can see, of course, yes, according to statistics, EIDs in Denmark, 90+% have it. But as you also heard my minister in the panel say, well, actually, even though we statistically look very advanced, we actually have perhaps 17-20% who are supposed to be digital and digital citizens, but actually have difficulty with the digitalization and accessing and using digital services. So that is what kind of dilemma that we are looking at the moment, and which also occupy much of my minister's concerns about how can we actually do that without relaxing the ambitions that we have in the digital area, which also is a prerequisite for accelerating the development of the digital economy in Denmark. I'm actually stopping 2022 because that's the latest last government approved. But as you can see through the different strategies and years, we have continuous working on solutions that are horizontal, that are common. We try to get agreements saying that all municipalities or not every municipalities and regional authorities should need to build their own infrastructure. We can leverage that on central level and facilitate a common infrastructure. That has been a continuous work, even though it is not specifically mentioned in our strategy headlines here. Another thing that has also been very important for us is the issue of how can we actually manage government, public sector ICT projects better. That was actually a demand from Parliament, because they were tired of getting applications for further budgets to IT projects that have not reached the goal and within the development periods, etc. We have today a very actually a law required process that requires each ministry, each central government agency, institution to ensure that they do the proper preparations. I'm not saying that will prevent all ICT problems, but at least it can perhaps limit some of them. And I would also like just to highlight the issue of cyber and information security. We have actually, since the beginning of this millennium, had a national requirement to all central government institutions to implement common ICT security standards. At some point, that was a Danish standard. At some point, we shifted to ISO 27001. And this has become a requirement that we, from our ministry side, are monitoring whether that is happening or not. Just to put a few words on what is really hyped today, AI and ethics, which is also an issue that my colleagues has mentioned. Yes, of course, a country needs to have a national AI strategy. We're at the moment trying to renew that. And it has to be human-centered, as you also have heard from Finland and from Norway. We want to have the positive approach to AI. We want to see what are the opportunities also for Danish businesses. So the balancing between the concerns and the opportunities need to be fine-tuned. And one very important thing I would mention here is actually that the national strategy there was set aside a funding pool of 130 million Danish kroner 2020 to 2022 for trying to see what AI embedded or AI-based tools could do in helping public service delivery. We have today 40 signature projects, as it is called, that some of them are finalized, some of them are still running and will be finalized this year, in order to show how AI can be used in public service delivery. We have heard some of them in, my minister mentioned cancer screenings. I can mention some other projects like optimizing building operations and management, or carpool management, or in the elderly care to help elder care homes optimize the way that they provide medicine for elderlies. But just to say that our regions and our municipalities have been very creative in trying to see what can actually be used, what is possible. And this leads actually to my next slide. But before doing that, just mention that we also initiated and tried to sell that to the European Union the possibility of a voluntary certificate on security of products and processes. Meaning that today it was actually initiated by the government, but today it has been taken over by our industry and governed by industry, where if companies are living up to certain principles, they can get this in order to help and to show that they actually care about ensuring trust in AI, is ensuring that those services or products are actually safe. Very short about the last slide I have here. Actually, in May, we got an agreement with municipalities and regions on trying to do a 10 years plan for the spread of emerging technologies and automatization. I know that many of my colleagues are at the moment working on different areas and initiatives, but 3 issues based on the experiences from also our signature projects have come to mind. Have we found all the good digital solutions that we should actually elevate and spread for national use? We'll try to do that in one path of of this plan. Second path is basically, okay, can we identify where there's the need for new solutions and mature the solutions to address the lack of workforce in the public sector? The issue about the lack of workforce in the public sector in our welfare system is very high on the agenda of our government, and that's also why this will be a contribution to that. The last one, we need to work on removing the barriers and preconditions to ease the use of good digital solutions in public sector. Legal, when we're talking about legal matters, data, and also digital infrastructures. These are only headlines. We're still working on trying to expand this agreement in principle with our subnational governments. And when our digital strategy, new digital strategy comes in later in the year, it will probably also be backed by funding. Thank you.